to session 5 of Unit 1 of ESC 209, that's Methods of Teaching Chemistry. This session looks at the learning styles theory. Let's proceed to look at our objectives. By the end of this session, you will be able to distinguish between the following pairs of learners: sensing and intuitive learners, visual and verbal learners, inductive and deductive learners, active and reflective learners, and sequential and global learners. You will also be able to explain the implications of the learning styles theory to the chemistry teacher. Let's proceed with our first objective. The learning styles theory, LST. The learning styles theory describes the different ways by which learners adopt, receive, and process or react to information that is to be fitted into their cognitive schema. In other words, we are talking about the different ways in which students process information so that they can fit it into their schema. The theory stresses the fact that individuals perceive and process information in different ways using a combination of their senses and skills. Information will get into learners in different ways, or students or learners will use different ways to get information and process such information. Whilst some may be good at seeing, others may be good at listening. And so these are different learning styles that the teacher should take note of. Differences and classification of learning styles. Now it is important to note that this learning style theory was developed by Felder Silverman, and its model organizes learners into 5 dichotomous learning styles as follows. 1. Sensing, and 2. Intuitive. But we are looking at the difference between these two. Sensing learners prefer to take information through their senses, such as hearing, touch, or feeling. So these learners will learn best, or will be very good learning by touching or feeling. On the other hand, intuitive learners will learn best through their memory, reflection, and imagination. So such learners may not be very good at hearing or learning through touching. The next two is visual and verbal. Visual learners like to receive information through some media that they can see. For example, pictures, charts, etc. So if you're a teacher and you are teaching such learners and you are only providing means through which they will learn by touching or reflection, you are not helping such learners because they are good at seeing. On the other hand, verbal learners could learn best through listening and reading. Let's look at the next two. Reflective and active. Reflective learners think introspectively about information before working on them, whereas Active learners learn by doing something with the information. The next is sequential and global. Sequential learners absorb information sequentially and in bits and like to build on them gradually. Whilst global learners can absorb materials even in the absence of any previous connections. The global learners, they are able to just commit the materials into memory even if the schema, there is not a strong connection between the schema and the new information. In the case of the sequential, they would want to learn it in bits. The next is inductive and deductive. Inductive learners prefer to learn from specific bits which lead to general principles, whereas deductive learners begin with general principles and deduce specific applications. For instance, to the deductive learner, they would learn best if we first start by saying that H2SO4 is an acid, it turns litmus paper red. HCl is acid, it turns litmus paper red. We test for other acids and we get the same observation, and so we generalize that all acids turn litmus paper red. This wouldn't work best for the deductive learners. Deductive learner would want the process to start from the general principle, you saying that all acids turn litmus paper red. Then we now move into it and then we'll be looking for specifics. So HCl is an acid, it turns litmus paper red. We have started from the general principles and we are moving to specific applications. What are the implications to the chemistry teacher? The chemistry teacher should adopt pedagogical strategies that give a match of teaching and learning styles. Why? This is because how much information a student learns depends on whether the instruction experiences are linked to his or her learning styles. If the student learns best through seeing or hearing, and then you go and you are providing experiences in which he would have to reflect, then you are not helping such students. Meanwhile, you should note that your strategy shouldn't also favor only a section of people, and so you should adopt several of them. Adopt in a particular lesson, you may use a lot so that all your learners would benefit. Now, first of all, you should have a fair idea of the kind of learners you have. The teacher is expected to apply a range of active learning approaches that can accommodate the differences and similarities in learning styles of students. So, identify your learners by their learning styles. So before you go, you have a range of activities which will favor almost all of them for effective learning to take place. We end the session with these questions, and I urge you to try solving them. We'll meet again in the next session.